the other side of my front door could have been a nutter. And that alone would have raised the criminal offences of Wyllow Cove of the past 50 years to 2, not counting that sheep that went missing about 10 years ago. I should have gone through some sort of agency, gone online and asked for someone with references. You could do that for this sort of thing, right? Before I could think any more about it, I yanked the door open, and standing on the threshold before me was a man. A younger man. The first thing that hit me was his friendly smile. Then came the dark mop of loose curls and the lashes so long he could sweep the floor with them. He was tall, but not overly so, and there was an air of easiness to him, and even in a pair of faded jeans and a black Zenyatta Mondata police t-shirt, he looked formidable. I couldn't have hoped to meet anyone as gorgeous as this even when I was 20, but now that I was 39, pure fluke. My friends and colleagues at Lady Magazine had urged, nay, badgered me to go on a date, but I barely had the will to live, let alone to love or have a fling. But this man before me could rearrange anyone's perspectives. Perhaps even my picky sister Yolanda's. But this was my little secret, and seeing that I lived high above the village, maybe I had a small shred of a chance of keeping this under wraps for a little while longer. Of course, eventually it would come out, but for now, I was my own secret agent. He smiled amiably as he stretched out a lean but particularly muscled arm. "Mrs. Amore," he said, in that deep velvety voice that had won me, literally, at hello. A voice so warm, like something you'd gladly wrap yourself up in. "I'm Connor Wright." "Yes, please come in, Mr. Wright," I practically sang. Never had a name sounded so apt. Not only because he was by far the most ravishingly good-looking bloke I'd ever seen, but also because there was something, well, undefinable about him. It was in the eyes, and in the curve of his mouth, an innate kindness, a shyness that you didn't expect. We'd be a perfect fit. And I had got all that in the time it took him to step over the threshold? I must have been going mad. Or I must have been more desperate than I thought. "Please don't mind the boxes," I apologised as he stepped over the threshold and into the large hall. "I'm putting my house on the market." "You're grand," he simply answered, with a dazzling smile, and already I could feel my skin tingling with pleasure. Yes, this was going to work out just fine. He followed me down the hall to a large kitchen extension at the back, the only area of the house where portraits of Neil's parents hadn't been allowed, and that had been decorated according to my taste, and not his. A huge Shaker-style kitchen, done in white and grey with a large island dominating one end of the room, extended into a bright orangery, awarding a view to the enormous garden, and beyond that, the sea. A tartan-style cream and duck egg sofa/daybed and armchairs occupied the opposite corner, with a low coffee table made entirely of driftwood I'd found on the beach below. It was clean, relaxed and airy, without the stuffiness of the Empire-style drapes and the thick carpeting everywhere else. And now there was not a gilt portrait frame or a coat of arms in sight. "Very nice, very tastefully done," he said. Bloody right. The minute I'd kicked Neil out, down came all the pictures of his ancestors that he'd so proudly displayed in the entrance hall, without even asking my opinion. I sensed that Connor, too, preferred this to the grand entrance, as he seemed to relax further. Hopefully he'd be more interested in the bedroom, because, truth be told, I'd completely gone blank on all the conversation pieces I'd rehearsed. "Thank you. Have a seat," I offered, as I busied myself with filling the kettle and broke open a selection of biscuits, rapidly assembling everything on an Emma Bridgewater plate before him, with a composed but friendly, "Please, help yourself." I figured that if we agreed on this, certain formalities